Arifin and you're watching News at 10. Making the headlines for tonight. GE15 matters to be raised on Wednesday cabinet meeting. GLIC heads and judge required to declare assets to MACC. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Semasa today revealed that matters pertaining to the upcoming 15th General Election GE15 will be among those to be discussed at the Cabinet meeting this Wednesday. He said the discussion will take into account opinions and suggestions by everyone in the Cabinet regarding GE15.
Kita akan bincang dalam Kabinet sebab dalam Kabinet ada wakil daripada parti Bersatu, ada wakil daripada parti-parti lain, GPS dan sebagainya dan daripada UMNO. Jadi kita akan bawa ke dalam kabinet. Hari Rabu ni saya ada kabinet sebelum saya berlepas ke Amerika, ke New York untuk Bangsa Bersatu, Pertubuhan Bangsa Bersatu sidangan. Mungkin saya boleh bawa dalam kabinet minggu ni.
Last Saturday, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, in his speech during the launching of Pemuda Barisan Nasional Machinery, said he will announce the date to abolish Parliament soon to give way for GE15 to be held. The Prime Minister also said that he has yet to meet with UMNO Top 5 to discuss about the GE15. The Top 5 meeting is normally convened before the party's Supreme Council meeting, with the next scheduled for 30th September. On another matter, heads of government-linked companies GLC and government-linked investment companies GLIC, as well as members of the judiciary, will soon to be required to declare their assets to the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC). Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said this was decided by the Special Cabinet Committee, or Anti-Corruption JKKMAR, at its meeting today, and that the details on this new code of ethics would be tabled again by the MACC at the next meeting. In a statement after chairing the meeting, the Premier said JKKMAR also decided that the MACC mechanism for declaration of assets by members of the administration, members of parliaments, MPs and senators would be strengthened to enhance the credibility and integrity of the government administration. He also said amendments and enhancements to the existing Code of Ethics for members of administration and members of parliament would be implemented. A new Code of Ethics would also be introduced for MPs in the Houses of Parliament, Privileges and Powers, Act 1952, Act 347, by considering the need to maintain the principle of separation of powers between the executive and legislative bodies. Details on the new Code of Ethics will be presented again by MACC in the upcoming JKKMAR meeting. In a related development, JKKMAR meeting was informed that the political donations bill will be regulated by an independent entity known as the Regulators of Political Contributions at the federal and state levels. According to Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, the views from all stakeholders, including political parties, on the details of the bill would be taken into account before it is presented for its first reading during the upcoming parliamentary session. He said the government is committed to strengthen integrity value to continue improve country's administrative transparency from time to time. In addition, the Premier said JKKMAR has also agreed to form a committee to oversee the transfer of local council officers to curb graft, power abuse and the existence of little Napoleons. He said through this committee, local authority officers who have been serving in the same place for a long time could be transferred to a different local authority, with the guidelines for this being issued to state authorities. Apart from this, JKKMAR also agreed to implement the Audit Act 1957 amendments to prevent the involvement of the Auditor General in activities or committees of federal or state services, but his participation is allowed in committees at the policy stage. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the amendments by the National Audit Department were aimed at enhancing professionalism and ensuring the independence of the Auditor General, apart from enabling him to audit other bodies, including companies with government interests, subject to his discretion. The government will soon establish a fund for the production of local films that promote patriotism and unity. Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa said for that purpose, he has held discussions with the Finance Ministry for an allocation of 50 million ringgit. Elaborating further, Tan Sri Anwar said local film industry must be helped further and should not only rely on the Digital Content Grant DKD and Film in Malaysia incentive. The special fund also aims to encourage local writers to explore and unearth Malaysia's rich history to boost the nationalism spirit among Malaysians.
Sebab kita banyak juga bila duduk dengan penerbit-penerbit, mereka ada idea-idea yang agak unik. Tapi kadang-kadang nak mengeluarkan filem yang bermutu itu tak dapat, tidak kosnya tinggi. I'm trying to explore possibility of make it something even more flexible so that Finas boleh guna kreativiti dia dalam memilih filem-filem yang patut diberikan dokongan-dokongan khas, dan juga nak encourage those people with good idea but they really cannot take off. They need funding.
He was met after launching the original soundtrack and trailer of the film 100 titled Bunga Terindah in Putrajaya. Commenting on the upcoming 32nd Malaysian Film Festival in Melaka, Tan Sri Anwar said, for the first time ever, participation will be open to foreign films. To date, the event has attracted entries from 17 production companies abroad. The Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives is considering extending the moratorium to micro, small and medium enterprise SMEs entrepreneurs who have not yet recovered from the COVID-19 pandemic. Its Minister Tan Sri Omar, however, said the extension of the moratorium would be granted on a case-by-case basis, taking into account the needs of the SMEs entrepreneurs involved. He added MEDAC also conducted intervention to postpone court and bankruptcy cases against SMEs entrepreneurs until the end of this year to provide them with space to restore their businesses.
Dalam kita baru nak bangkit ni, kita akan boleh pertimbangkan rayuan kalau usahawan tu memang kita lihat perlukan lagi moratorium, kita akan bagi. Dan juga macam mana yang saya nyatakan dulu, bahawa selain daripada itu, kes-kes mahkamah, kalau nak pergi bankrupt ke sama menyaman ni, kita carry dulu.
He was met by the media after launching the cashless food festival in nation's capital. Coming up, 9 students charged with bullying in Kemaman. The holistic implementation of the National Low Carbon Aspiration 2040 plan is expected to expand gross domestic product GDP by 13 billion ringgit a year and generate over 207,000 jobs. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the aspiration under the National Energy Policy DTN 2022-2040 that was launched today will help the country achieve net zero gas house emissions GHG in 2050 as it faces the challenges of energy transition and climate change. The aspiration, he said, has 9 targets to be achieved by 2040. Among them, shared mode of public transport of 50%, use of electric vehicles of 38%, use of the B30 mixed fuel for heavy vehicles as an alternative fuel, as well as energy savings of 11% for industry and commercial use and 10% for residential use.
EV Task Force yang dianggotai oleh pelbagai pihak untuk memperinci strategi sedia ada berkaitan pembangunan EV dan mempromosi industri EV tempatan. Dalam hal ini, 4 bidang menjadi fokus utama, iaitu meningkatkan penggunaan EV, membangunkan infrastruktur pengecasan, membangunkan bakat dan menarik pelaburan.
The new paddy seeds variety IS22 has been improved to withstand extreme weather conditions as well as natural disasters such as flooding. Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Hambaba said the seeds will be presented to the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industry MAFI to be verified.
Keupayaan benih baru ini ialah dia matang lebih awal, kemudian dia hasil yang tinggi dan dia boleh hidup dalam keadaan tanah yang kurang subur, serta tahan dalam keadaan kemarau dan juga mampu hidup dalam keadaan banjir kilat, bukan banjir yang lama lah, banjir kilat tu. Jadi kita bangunkan benih variety baru IS22 di bawah Agensi Nuklear Malaysia dengan kerjasama Jabatan Pertanian, MARDI dan juga MAFI dan agensi-agensi berkaitan dengan pembangunan variety ini.
He was met after officiating the Golden Jubilee celebration of Malaysia Nuclear Agency in Bangi, Selangor. Datuk Seri Dr. Adham said his ministry will continue to work with MAFI to expand the cultivation sites for IS22 variety aside from the existing 12 paddy fields in the country. The government has approved an allocation of RM291.4 million this year to upgrade all facilities and increase assets belonging to the Fire Rescue Department JBPM. Minister of Housing and Local Government Datuk Seri Riza American said the allocation was important to ensure Malaysia's fire and rescue services on par with other developed countries. Elaborating further, Datuk Seri Rizal said JBPM will receive 6 units of fire and rescue boat FRB worth RM15.5 million, 5 urban search and rescue USAR robots worth RM7.5 million, and 150 units of compact fire rescue tender CFRT worth RM145.8 million. Meanwhile, a total of RM49 million was set aside for the implementation of the Command, Control, Communications, Computers and Intelligence project. He added another RM33.6 million was allocated to upgrade JBPM's Air Base Office MOB in Subang, Selangor. Almost RM40 million was channeled for the implementation of Phase 3 of the Eastern Region Malaysia Fire and Rescue Academy project, which encompasses the development of various training facilities.
Ini memperlihatkan bahawa fungsi kebombaan ni adalah dan penyelamatan ni amat penting, terutamanya bila negara dah mula didatangi dengan kekerapan musibah-musibah alam dengan fenomena-fenomena seperti banjir, fenomena seperti suasana dan keadaan-keadaan kecelakaan yang tidak diduga, kemalangan, kebakaran. Semuanya menyaksikan bomba berada di hadapan, dan maka sebab itu bomba perlu dipertingkatkan dari segi kemahiran, keupayaan, dari segi pengenalan aset-aset yang berteknologi tinggi.
He said this when opening the seminar on Uniform Building by Laws 1984 Amendment 2021 in Putrajaya today. The prosecution in the corruption trial of Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi related to Yayasan Akal Budi today objected to a part of the witness statement by the accused former press secretary, contending that it is irrelevant and inadmissible. Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk Raja Rosella Rajatoran said statement by Major General Datuk Fazlid Osman Merican Idris Merican, the second defence witness in paragraphs 16 to 30, should be ruled as inadmissible on grounds of it being collateral evidence. She added that the statement was intended to damage the character of the accused former Executive Secretary and prosecution's 90th witness, Major Mazlina Mazlan alias Ramli. Datuk Raja Rosella said Judge Datuk Colin Lawrence Sequeira has the power to control how much evidence is introduced through witnesses' statement as long as the statement are relevant to the main issues in the trial. Counsel Datuk Hisham Tepotek requested for time to reply to the prosecution's objection. The trial will resume tomorrow. Nine male students at a secondary boarding school were charged at the Kemaman Magistrates Court today for causing injury to 3 students last month. All of the accused, aged 16, pleaded not guilty when the charges were read out to them in front of Magistrate Tengku Eliana Tuan Kamaruzaman. According to the charge sheet, the students were alleged to have deliberately caused injury by punching and kicking the 3 victims, all aged 15, at the secondary school's dormitory on 23rd August at 11:30 p.m. They were charged under Section 323 of the Penal Code, which provides for a prison sentence of up to 1 year or with a maximum fine of 2,000 ringgit or both if convicted. Deputy Public Prosecutor Nur Azhani Azman prosecuted, while all the accused were represented by lawyer Akmal Wahida Abdul Halim. The court allowed a bail of 2,000 ringgit and 5,500 ringgit each and set 12 October for mention and the submission of documents. Coming up in our foreign segment, Britain and the world say farewell to Queen Elizabeth II. Queen Elizabeth II's elaborate final farewell got underway early Monday as Britain and the world laid the beloved and longest reigning monarch to rest. The 96-year-old monarch made her final journey to Westminster Abbey, where the Queen was married and crowned for her state funeral service. King Charles III and his sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, were among those who marched solemnly behind her coffin in a brief procession from Westminster Hall to the Abbey, where other members of the grieving royal family had already gathered. Queen Consort Camilla Parker Bowles, the Princess of Wales Kate Middleton, Prince George, Prince Charlotte and Duchess of Sussex Meghan Markle joined them as they followed the coffin into the church. More than 2,000 official guests, including President Joe Biden and other world leaders, had already gathered inside Westminster Abbey ahead of the procession. Ahead of the service, one of the Abbey's bells tolled 96 times, once a minute for each year of her life. Up to 1 million people descended on the streets of London to pay their respects and view the Queen's coffin as it was carried from Westminster Hall to the Abbey. Pin-drop silence fell over sections of the city as the service, which was being live-streamed on screens erected for the occasion, got underway at. An American Navy veteran detained in Afghanistan since 2020 was released by the Taliban today in exchange for an ally who had spent 17 years in a U.S. jail for heroin smuggling. Washington previously said Mark Ferrix was working as a civil engineer on construction projects in Afghanistan when he was taken hostage. Afghan Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi said at a press conference that after long negotiations, U.S. citizen Ferrix was handed over to an American delegation, that the delegation handed over Bashar Norazai to the Taliban at Kabul airport. Bashar was welcomed with a hero's fanfare by the government of the newly styled Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, IEA. The Taliban seized power in Afghanistan a little over a year ago as the United States and their NATO allies withdrew from the country after 20 years of military intervention. Since then, the nation has been further plunged into economic and humanitarian hardship, with billions in Afghan assets abroad frozen by Washington and international aid vastly reduced. No country has yet to recognize the new government, with Washington repeatedly telling the Taliban that they will have to earn legitimacy. Coming up in sports, Bastianini wins Aragon GP as Quartararo crashes. Negeri Sembilan atlet Leong Yok Kwan's 2-year wait for a gold medal in the Malaysia Games Sukma ended when he won the Esports Pro Evolution Soccer 2021's singles event today. Esports in the Sukma was to have made its maiden appearance in the 2020 edition, but it was not held due to the raging COVID-19 pandemic then. The 23-year-old put on a scintillating performance to beat nearest challenger Terengganu's Muhammad Rafiq Firdaus Junos 2-1. Muhammad Haris Hazmi Hakimin of Kedah won the bronze. Yok Kwan, who is fondly just called Yok, said he did not expect to win as he had lost in the upper bracket final playoff against the same opponent 2-0.
Saya tak expect saya boleh dapat juara sebenarnya, and then it's like a dream lah. After yang the minute whistle blow, everything, I became a champion today. So saya rasa sangat gembira lah, and then saya dah training banyak hari-hari saya training. Saya rasa nak cope under pressure tu paling susah dalam game, sebab main semua orang boleh main, tapi yang main under pressure tu yang paling susah bagi saya.
Born in Seremban, Yok Kwan shared that he has been involved in the esports since he was 19 and often entered minor tournaments to build himself up to this level. For the record, the age limit for the Sukma is 21 but was raised to 23 for the 2022 edition because the 2020 edition that was to be held in Johor was cancelled due to the pandemic. And Airbus Janini overtook Francesco Bagnaia on the last lap for a dramatic Aragon Grand Prix victory yesterday as World Championships leader Fabio Quartararo crashed out in the first lap, blowing the title race wide open. Gresini Racing's Bastianini avenged his narrow defeat at Misano earlier this month by denying Bagnaia a fifth straight win after a photo finish in Alcaraz, fighting off the Ducati rider to win by 0.042 seconds. Bagnaia cut Frenchman Quartararo's championship lead from 30 points to 10 with 5 races remaining, with Alexis Espargaro a further 7 points behind and back in the title hunt after completing the podium for Aprilia. Espargaro passed Red Bull KTM's Brad Binder, who had spent most of the race in the third, after re-overtaking Ducati's Jack Miller on the penultimate lap to take his first podium place since Mugello in May. Reigning champion Quartararo hit the rear of Marc Marquez Honda on the exit of Turn 5 before the Spaniard and LCR Honda's Takaki Nakagami made contact, bringing the race to a premature end for all three riders. Bastianini's victory secured Ducati the Constructors' Championship for the third consecutive season. With 5 Grand Prix left this season, MotoGP next heads to Japan for the Grand Prix on 25th September. Union Berlin forward Geraldo Becker scored once and set up another goal to lead his side to a 2-0 victory over VfL Wolfsburg on Sunday to put them top in the Bundesliga and stretch their unbeaten run to 14 straight matches going back to last season. The Suriname international now has 6 league goals and 3 assists in 7 matches as the Bundesliga's surprise leaders move up to 17 points, 2 ahead of second-place Borussia Dortmund. Jordan headed Union in front of a glancing header at the near post in the 54th minute after Becker had raced down the wing and hit a perfect cross for his teammate. US international Jordan, who has 3 goals this season, had wasted 3 good chances earlier in the game as Union looked the sharper side. Union finished the game with 16 shots on goal compared to Wolfsburg 5. Becker then turned scorer in the 77th, chesting down the chipped ball and volleying past keeper Con Castells to make sure of the 3 points. Wolfsburg dropped to 17th place on 5 points. 15-year-old Ethan Nwaneri became the youngest player in Premier League history when he came on as a substitute for Arsenal as they returned to the top of the Premier League with a comfortable 3-0 win at Brentford yesterday. Goals from William Saliba and Gabriel Jesus gave Mikel Arteta's side a 2-0 lead at the break before Fabio Vieira completed the win in the 54th minute. Waneri, who is 15 years and 181 days old, came on as a substitute for Vieira in the second minute of stoppage time, the first player under 16 to play in the competition. Arsenal never looked in danger, controlling the game from the outset. Saliba got things underway, heading the visitors in front of the 17th minute, rising to angle a corner from Bukayo Saka in off the far post. Another header 11 minutes later doubled Arsenal's advantage, with Granit Xhaka picking out Gabriel Jesus with a perfectly floated cross from the left, which the Brazilian met powerfully. The game was put beyond Brentford in the 4th minute after the break, thanks to a wonderful strike from outside the box by Portuguese midfielder Fabio Vieira. Arsenal are on 18 points from the opening 7 matches of the season, with defending champions Manchester City a point behind and North London rivals Tottenham Hotspur also on 17 points. Meanwhile, Lionel Messi's early goal earned Paris Saint-Germain a 1-0 win at Olympique Lyonnais early this morning as they opened a 2-point lead at the top of Ligue 1. It was a dream start for PSG, who went ahead from their first opportunity with Messi, beating Anthony Lopez from just inside the area after collecting Neymar's pass. Messi found the back of the net with his 4th league goal of the season in the 5th minute to put Christophe Galtier's side on 22 points from 8 games. It was a 6th PSG goal in all competitions this season for Messi. The Argentine had another chance early in the second half, but Lopez this time pulled off a superb save to keep his team in contention. Sergio Ramos also had the ball in the next late on, but he was offside following a Messi free kick. Lyon had their best chance in the 76th minute, but Marquinhos blocked Moussa Dembele's header on the goal line. Neymar and Messi had 2 more opportunities for PSG, only for Lopez to deny them, but the hosts were not able to threaten again.